Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for April 3rd, 2022. So, this week, was not very much different from last week. My brain is fried, during the week, at work. Again, I'm still in the middle process of redoing the parts room, and I've been staring at reports and spreadsheets all week. I kind of took a break from labeling things because I wanted to get ahead on other things, because people would ask me where certain parts were and I didn't know what they were sometimes. And so I've been making an inventory list because the new system doesn't do that. So I'm putting all this effort in, and I know in the end it'll be worth it, but my brain is melted. So I didn't read quite as much as I was hoping this week, only because I picked a short book that I thought, oh, I'll breeze through that, and it took me like 4 days, but or 3.5, whatever. Still took me a long time for how long it was. And then I didn't read a whole lot yesterday because I went out with my family on a little excursion to Fort Vancouver, which I had never been. So that was kind of cool. It was not a huge deal. It was just fun. Anyway, so other than that, that's kind of the life update. There's not much going on. I am planning on seeing if I can add the top shelf on all my Billy bookcases this week, hopefully. I bought one to test to see if I have enough space. It measures that I should have enough space, but I'm just not positive yet. So I got one to put together and to test it around the room. Again, my house is over 40 years old, so I don't trust that it's balanced. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so if that does work, then maybe next weekend I might go back to IKEA and buy the rest of them, because I'm overloaded. I admit it. I'm trying. My book buying is still, it's a little better right now, but it's mostly because I bought a lot in March, which again, my book haul will be up later this week. Just so you know. So, okay, now I've rambled a little too much. Anyway, so let's talk about the books that I finished, the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. Monday, I finished Breaking Badger by Shelley Lawrenson. This completes, it's the newest release in the Honey Badger Chronicles series by her. And that means that I am caught up on this series. And again, I've read the other two series that are connected to this one. So the overarching series, I've read everything as well. So as I said, I read 18 things from her in the last month and a half. So this was the last one I had that was connected to that series. So Breaking Badger is following one of the teammates, or basketball teammates of one of the women in the first 3 books of the Honey Badger series, one of the sisters. That's kind of a primary. They're still very prevalent in this one. This again is one of those series where I wouldn't read them out of order. I did read the Honey Badger series without reading the other ones, and I knew what was going on okay, but man, once you've read all the series and you get all the backstories of every character, because this is one of those found family worlds kind of thing that just kind of builds and builds, and the characters show up in other books that you're like, oh, that's from that, like there was a character that showed up in here that I was surprised about that he was there, and then I realized who he was, and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh, he's from that other book. And I just love that kind of stuff. Anyway, so again, that happened. So it made me happy. Anyway, so this was a good one. I still really, really liked it. I like the idea that it looks like we're going to continue on with this series. This is not like, because again, I was surprised when we got this book, because we'd done the 3 sisters in the first 3 books. And then I thought, well, what are we going to do? Why is there a 4th book? Well, if we do one of the sisters' basketball teammates who have been friends since their junior high. So they're all in their late 20s, and again, these are paranormal romances. This series, I would say, is much more on the urban fantasy side. There's much more action, adventure, and people trying to kill other people. And again, I love all that kind of stuff in these kind of books. And then there's the romance, but it's so light compared to the Pride series or the Magnus Pack. I would say of her series, this is like the least. The romance is really back burner. There's still some sexy times, towards the end, not so much beginning in the middle. It kind of happens in the middle, but it's not as much as in the earlier books, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, I still really enjoyed them. Again, these are crazy people who you do not want to hang out with. Mads is a shifter who is part honey badger and hyena, but the honey badger gene like is the most prevalent. So when you have somebody who one of their parents is a honey badger shifter, that takes precedence over any other genes you might have. And so it's just, they're funny. I just love the honey badgers. Anyway, so she's that, and again, she's a professional basketball player in the shifter world, and that's all she really cares about is basketball and her teammates and things. And again, they've been together since they were, the 5 of them, since they were in junior high. So it was all the good backstory about, and then her stuff in her life that's affecting her new life. And then she meets one of a Siberian, or one of the tigers, a tiger. I kind of is an Amur tiger. I'm not sure I don't know enough about tigers to know the difference. I'll have to look that up. But he and his family now are a little bit more connected in, and I kind of see how some other potential books down the road could happen with them as well as with her friends and stuff. So I'm hoping for more books in this series. I have not seen any announcements. She's not very prevalent on social media, so I check her website every once in a while just to see if there's something on there, but it hasn't been updated in a while. So her next book is coming out under her other name, which is a fantasy series that I'm looking forward to the 3rd book in that series. So anyway, I don't have another one coming for a while, but I finished this series. I finished all of this this overarching series in this certain urban fantasy world, paranormal romance mostly. But I really enjoyed this one. Again, so it was just, I've just noticed that after reading all those books, that the Honey Badgers Chronicles is definitely more towards the wacky urban fantasy side than paranormal romance, even though that's in there. Anyway, I hope that made sense. Anyway, so then I picked up another reread that of the books. I put out a video last week that was about the series I think I'm going to binge or I'd like to read this year. That I have all the books, or is a potential that I could read and finish this year. So this is a 4-book series. The Book of the Order is the series name. Geist was the first book. I read this 10 years ago. I went back to my Goodreads and found I had read it in March 2012. So I was like, no wonder I don't remember anything. I remembered one scene in here, and when it happened, it was what I remembered. And it was really funny how that scene was so prevalent, and everything else I had completely forgotten. So we're following Sorsha, who is a member of the Order. They're called deacons, who have magical abilities. She is an active who wears gauntlets that fire up with magic, with different runes that she calls into play. And they deal with the undead, the unliving, that are trying to take over from, kind of like a different dimension thing. They're trying to break through, and they take over humans to just kind of destroy other people and things. And they've this continent has brought the Order back over after they had been kind of decimated along many years ago, and so are taken out or left, or where the orders were disbanded. And so they're coming back because now the Emperor has taken kind of over control of this new area. And so she is sent on a mission with a new sensitive, which is her counterpart. They're partners, and they have a bond. And they the sensitive, Merrick, is a younger man, but he's very powerful, and it's kind of his first mission out in the world. But they the sensitives see the unliving and the guys differently. The actives are very much the powerhouse, the ones who take care of certain things, and the sensitives are one who can sense it and see it. And so they work together, and it's kind of their things happen when they go on their trip, and they do meet their pretender, or a man who is the son of the man who lost the throne at a certain point, or is from the family that used to be the rulers, but then they lost it to who the Emperor is now and his family. So he's kind of been on the run, and he kind of gets pulled into this as well, and things go very, very wrong. Anyway, I don't know if I explained that very well, but this was really a fun magic system, a different one. I liked. I do like it. I do remember that was one of the things I did remember about the series, which is why I Got it. It's not a favorite. I would not give this, I would say I gave it a 3 back 10 years ago. But I still think about it. So it's definitely one that stayed with me. So I would say it's closer probably to a 3.5. It's not quite a 4 because I didn't love it in any way. I do like the characters a lot. I like Sorsha, and I liked Merrick and some of the other ones that showed up. I did not, as I said, I remembered one scene from this book that I read 10 years ago. And again, I was so excited we got to that scene because it was what I remembered. And but everything else I didn't remember, so it was all new to me. This took me all week to read. Well, I think I started it Monday night after I finished Breaking Badger. And then I didn't finish this until Thursday night. So like late. I stayed up to finish it because I'm like, I need to get this done. And so it's like 294 pages, but it was so dense. It's not, the print is kind of small. But it's pretty dense because there's so much fantasy in here in such a small little package. And I still think it was really good. I don't think it's ever going to be a favorite, except that I do love these characters enough that I want to continue on. So I do have, as I said, this is a 4-book series. I have all 3 books that I collected after I finished this one, but just never got to them. Well, the next book had come out, I think the year before I had picked up this book. But the other 2 came out later. And so I think I just waited till they all came out. I don't know. Or I just never got back to it. I don't know. But anyway, the point is that I did enjoy my reread. I'm definitely going to continue on. But this is not one I'm going to binge like in a row. I felt as soon as I was done, I'm like, I need a break. I don't want to read it next. But I'm hoping to read it one a month to get this done in the next 3 months. So I'm hoping that in April, I'll pick up one near the end of the month, May, and then June, and then I'll be done with the series. So I'm hoping that's going to happen. We'll see what happens. Again, mood reading, not really sure. But I did really enjoy this for a fantasy series that's not super long. It is dense, though, in the way it just took longer for me to read than other books. And it could just be because I was reading so many of those paranormal romances, urban fantasies by Shelley Lawrenston that just flew by. This was it was a little harder to read, but I did enjoy it. Like I said, I'm glad I reread it. I'm excited to get back to it to see what goes on, because there's so many things that happen at the end of the book that are like, you don't know what's going to happen in the next book. I'm really curious. And then on beginning of April, I started Where the Drowned Girls Go by Shauna McGuire and finished this on Friday the 1st. So this was my first book of April. Anyway, so I got this pre-ordered. I think this is book 7. I keep saying, but it's 7 in the Wayward Children series. Where is her list? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so 7. Yeah, because I was really looking forward to this one because, again, her series is following children who go through portal doors and into different worlds, and then many times they are expelled and come back to our world, and then they're having trouble readjusting to the real world. And this follows one of the characters that we've met, I think since book 3 that she was in it, Cora, and she's been a favorite character since then, and that she was in 3 and 5, so I've really enjoyed her. So I was really excited for this book, and this one is definitely one of my favorites of the series so far. So we're following Cora as she makes a decision to try out the other institution, or the other school that deals with kids who have gone through portals, and I think it's called the what is it called? Oh no, Whitehorn, the Whitehorn Institute. So so she goes to that, and then everything that happens with that and what's going on there, and her own issues plus what other, and there were some surprises in here. I was so shocked at one of them that I totally missed up until like halfway point, and I realized who that person was and how they're connected, and I just felt dumb, but it was fine. I like those when things from other books come into the next book and stuff, and I did like the way this went. Again, this was one of those ones where I connected more with Cora than I did with some of the other ones. Like book 6 is my lowest rated of the series. I just didn't connect with it as well, but that could be because I'm not a horse person, so that could have been a problem. But anyway, this one I really enjoyed. I thought there was a lot of good things spoken of in here of because Cora is overweight, and And she also has mermaid hair, and so she, you know, there's these things that she had to deal with when she came back from her world and stuff. And it's just, I think it was really powerful. I really, really enjoyed this one, and I'm glad I still continue. I'll buy them every year they come out. I just didn't get to it the first couple months of the year again because I was just, my reading has been all over the place, and then I got into the Shelley Lawrence and stuff. But I wanted to pick it up in April, and because again, I'm trying to read my pre-orders in the year I get them, because I have like 20 or 30 pre-orders in the last 4 years that I haven't read, and I want to get back to where I'm reading them when that year, even if it's a couple months later. I'm okay. I got it done. So, but I do enjoy the Wayward Children series. I don't know if I explained that very well, but I really enjoyed that installment, and I'm glad that. And again, it's another series. You noticed my series stuff is definitely what I'm focusing on this year. Is still the series. So again, that's I'm doing the thing with the Serious About Series by Elizabeth at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. So anyway, and I just I'm keeping track of all my series. I'm hoping next week to do kind of a, I don't know, what do you call it? An update or whatever of the first quarter, how I did on my series, because I think it'd be kind of interesting to look at that. So hopefully you'll like that. I don't know. I'm going to get that together. Anyway, so I did want to point, before I talk about the books that I am reading, I do want to point out 2 books that I was supposed to read in the last 2 months for the BookTube spin. So I have like mixed results with stuff like on the BookTube spin of forcing myself to read stuff that's on that list. But you know, I did want to point out, I did try both of these books in March, and before I picked up Geist, I thought, oh, I'll try these and see if I want to read. I did read about, I don't know, like 20 pages of this, and I'm not sure this is the book for me. The writing style just isn't clicking with me. I don't know, it feels very young for people who are not, I mean, they're young, they're youngish, but I don't know. Anyway, so I'm not sure. And then this is a dual timeline. It follows first a woman who is coming to her great-grandfather's remote cabin is totally derelict, and she is running away because she found out her husband is having an affair. So she's kind of running away to, hey, get away. Oh God, cat. It's this new thing when I film. Anyway. So she's trying to get away from that stress, and so she goes to this cabin she hasn't seen, and or I don't know if she's seen it. I can't remember now if she's seen it before. She just heard about it. Anyway, and then the other timeline is 1914, and we're during the World War I in Russia, and we're showing the Romanovs and some soldiers that are defending and how they're meeting some of them. Anyway, so I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to come back to this. I did try it. I'm not sure if I'm fully DNFing this one yet. I don't know if it was just that day. I just didn't like it so much. I don't know about the writing style. So I don't know. So I might give it one more shot. And then another book that I tried, but I was not in the mood to read this, was God Blind by Anna Stevens. I still think I need to be in the right mindset for this. And I think with my brain being so fried at work, the thought of reading a dense fantasy that was, that could be potentially is very grimdark, just didn't appeal to me right now. So I don't know. So I put this back on my shelf. I had at least tried it. I didn't read very far, but I knew right away, I'm like, no, I don't feel like this right now. So my BookTube spin stuff was kind of a fail this time. So we'll see what happens. I think he's going to do it at the end of April, I think, for the next set of months. We'll see what happens. Unless I missed it. If I did, let me know, but I'm pretty sure. And that's Rick MacDonnell who does that. So anyway, I just want to put those out there. I did try those. I did have them. So really quick, what I'm in the middle of reading, I picked up Neon Gods by Katie Robert, and I'm rereading this. I was going to pick up Electric Idol, which is book 2 in the Dark Olympus series, but I suddenly wanted to go back and reread the book I read in January, and I'm so glad I did. I still love this book. It's one of my, it's only one of 2 5-star reads so far this year. My other 5-star read was where the drowned girls go. So I haven't had a lot of 5 stars. I've had a great run of 4 stars with all the Shelley Lawrence. I mean, almost all those were 4 stars, and you know, up and down a little bit in the 4s, but like they were all 4s. But this was 5 star, and I just wanted to reread it. So I'm rereading it right now. If I get to a point where I start skimming stuff, then, you know, then that's fine. I don't have to read this every page. I just happened yesterday to read 100 pages of it, and I read it pretty much straight, so I wasn't skipping anything. So anyway, I'm really enjoying rereading that. So then I hope to, which is following Persephone and Hades in a world that's it's kind of like a gangster kind of ish one, where there's a city, Olympus, where above the river Styx is where a lot of the 13, or the people who are in charge, usually following Zeus and Demeter and, you know, Aphrodite and those kind of things. And then Hades has the lower cities on the other side of the Styx, and he is considered a myth, and everybody thinks that the line has died out and there's no Hades. And again, the names are kind of titles. It's not like they're original names. A lot of times they're made in, like, that's who they become. And his is an inherited title. And again, he has been in hiding for 30 years since his parents were killed. And so Persephone is, again, the daughter of Demeter, and she is kind of given to Zeus to be the new Hera. And she, like, in an engagement kind of thing. And so she kind of freaks out and gets away. And she just wants to clear her head, but she is chased by some people towards the river Styx, and then she crosses when she's not supposed to. And she's now under the protection of Hades. So it's really a good, as I said, it's just, and again, this is going to be this is very sexy, you know, very smutty, very just, there's a lot of that stuff. But then again, there's all this different twist on the I'm trying to think of the Greek gods kind of thing. So I really enjoyed this book. It was my first book by her, I think. Or did I read that little short story first? I don't know, little. But anyway, I really enjoyed this, so I'm rereading this. And then I'm hoping either next I'm going to pick up Electric God right away. It just matters how I feel at the end of that one. This one came out as I was finishing that book, so I'd pre-ordered this one. So this is one of my pre-order books that I want to get done. So this one follows Persephone's, another one of her sisters, Psyche, and then she and Eros are the love interest in this, and he is out to kill her because of some slight from Aphrodite. I'm not quite sure, because he's Aphrodite's son. So anyway, I don't know how that, and I think he is like an assassin or something. So I don't know. We're going to see how that goes. But I would like to pick that up next. And then there's also a short story that came out on her newsletter, I think in early March, that's called Stoneheart, which I think is a Medusa retelling. I'm not sure. So anyway, I do want to get to those. So I might read them all back to back and be caught up on this series, on the Dark Olympus series. Or I might take a break in between those two books and start another series, which is the books of Emha. I don't know how you say that. Empire of Sand by Tasha Shuri is the first book. I only own the first book, so if I like this, I will buy the second book because it's a duology. So all I know is that I read the first couple pages to see if I wanted to read that yesterday, but then I went back to Neon Gods. And so I know we're following a woman. She has some kind of powers. I'm not quite sure, but she's like, in her family, she's the stepdaughter, so I'm not sure how that goes. I know someone is, it's like a desert fantasy, so I don't know a lot else beyond that. It's one of those ones where I've heard a lot about, but not know exactly what the storyline is. Like I said, I thought it was something like a forced marriage at some point, but I'm not positive. I know there's a romance in here in this fantasy, so I do want to read this soon. So as I said, after Neon Gods, it's going to be one of these two, probably, I'm not sure. So as I said, my mood is all over the place, so we will see what happens. But I'm enjoying my reread of Neon Gods today, so hopefully tomorrow or the next day, probably the next day, I'll start reading one of those other books. So anyway, that is it. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, so what are you guys reading? How is your reading going? Mine is, again, I'm really focusing on my series. I've really are backing away from a lot of other books. Fantasy is just different types of fantasy are calling me. I want to keep with the mixing up my regular fantasy with urban fantasy or paranormal romance, you know, like that kind of thing. So real world-ish with some twists, and then also just, you know, straight out fantasy in other worlds. I do want to try to get some sci-fi back into my reading as well. I have so much sci-fi, and I haven't been like looking towards that. So I might try to find a title or something that I can put in kind of, it's because it's not on my TBR because I didn't think of it until this week, but I might have one sitting there ready to go if I have the need, or I feel the need to switch it up and go to sci-fi. I also have a stack of standalones that I might read in between my series. But, you know, as I said, I'm just letting myself read what I want to read. And I really am focusing on series because I own so many. And I want progress in like everything. So we'll see what happens. As I said, we'll see. Anyway, so that's it. Let me know what you're reading. Anything good? And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.